Hi, are you still struggling to get those little birds right? Yes, I know they're tricky, but you can do this. My name's Annika, and I've been painting birds for over 25 years and continually looking and finding ways to make it a better experience. Last time we looked at finding hidden shapes within birds, shapes that you can relate to. But this time we're going to take it a step further and look for those negative shapes which are as equally important as the ones we did last time. And they really pull everything together. We'll be looking to see what are negative shapes, why are they important, what do they do, and how do they affect our bird, and do I need them? Anyway, of course you do. To have a negative shape, you need a positive one first. It's like having a hand in a glove, or yin and yang, or ice cream. You need them both. But the important thing is that they help each other. If you can't get a positive shape right, or something that you want to paint right, it's because you haven't looked at the negative shape. They really go together. But I know these words, positive and negative, how about this? It's either the bird or the background. We have to make them both fit together, even if the background is white. Actually, here's the twist. Negative shapes are actually easier than the positive ones. And I will prove this to you today. I'll be sharing 2 examples with you today, and let's get going. Some birds are easier than others. This one's not too hard, but let's just use it as a simple example for part 2 of our hidden shapes. We're going to use some coloured pencils as we draw this little eastern yellow robin. Instead of focusing on the robin itself, we're going to focus on the background, which is the negative space around him. It's like having a cake and cutting out pieces. And then we throw the pieces away and we're left with something. So it's like carving out. We're carving out shapes to reveal a bird in this instance. If you had a block of wood and we're about to sculpt a bird, everything you're chomping away at is the negative space. We need to chomp bits away. And these shapes are all abstract shapes. Our brain hasn't seen them before. But our brain knows what a bird is, and then it interferes with us and tells us, oh, no, not like that, like that. But abstract shapes balance everything out. And to do that, the simplest way would be to put him into a shape. So I look at the point that sticks out the most, which might be there and here, and pull a line up there. So this little shape in here is the negative space that then reveals the bird. It doesn't matter what you do again, as long as it means something to you. So I'm going to pull a line down here, and there's a little shape in there. And this one down here, we could make that a triangle. Then we have the legs, the feet. So there's this area in here. And when we look at the beak up here, that's another negative shape around him. And we could also say that would enhance his shape as well. So his other foot's right there. And then the shape on top of his head. And a little curve up here. So there's our little robin now revealed under these shapes. We could also put him into a box that looked like this. You might say, oh, well, this is the box that I want to put him in. That's fine. Perfectly fine. You could even pull a line out here and say this is a big triangle. All of this area, I could keep going and going. All of this is the negative space. If we were to replicate this negative space. Let's try and do that. So first of all, I can decide how I want the shape to be the easiest to work with. If I think, okay, the leg sticks out there, but I might just want this shape to finish like this. Or maybe I could say I want a triangle in there. I might want a triangle there. Let's just try to make this as easy as possible. So it goes up like that, comes down like this, and let's just make a triangle, which we can then further refine later. So if I copy this triangle onto my paper, so I say, okay, there is that line and that one. There's my triangle, this one. Okay. And then I have, so this one should be slightly curved, a little bit. And now let's look at this shape in here. So that means it's an extension of this line. All right, we'll go out a bit. And then this one comes up, goes a bit like that, and comes down. So this is our second negative space. Then we have a gap because it touches. And then we have this shape here. So that looks a bit like it goes in, goes up, and it goes out. And then I can close this shape and colour it in. You watch, in a minute we're going to have a robin. And now look at this shape. I'm going to start and finish where I want to start and finish. So why not just make it a little triangle, goes like that, and then I'm going to colour that in. And then it looks like a bit like this, coming around. And then see the point here and this point here. This is just, if we were to pull a straight line, that would be a little bit above it. So if I pull a straight line and a little bit above it, that means that this is where that little point is. So there's that, and I make, this looks like a seagull. Make a seagull. And I'll colour this in. And then we have it extended out like this. But then it goes down. So let's try to make that shape. It goes out and then, so there's the shape. All right, and as you can see, it's starting to look like the bird. So here's a foot. I can rub all this out and put in a foot and one over here. So out of the negative spaces, we have revealed a lovely robin. That's one way to see how negative spaces work. Now let's add a little bit of colour to all this. This is watercolour pencil, so I'll just blend it out. It is fun with some watercolour pencil sometimes. And I'm just looking at the shapes and blocking them in. Just very loosely, no fuss. Are you starting to see the value of these negative shapes, or have you been using them for a while? Let me know in the comments below. Everybody else loves to read your comments too, so you're kind of helping everyone. And if you'd like to be in the exclusive Annika Art Club, I'd love to welcome you. Just press the join button below and you'll hear all about it. But in the meantime, let's get painting. Now let's combine our strategy of some simple, relatable shapes and the negative spaces to work together. All right, somewhat looks like a bird maybe. There's a foot. If we can replicate this shape on the paper, it's a great start. So you can see I'm drawing a circle, but it's not exactly the same as on the plastic. And the head won't be the same either. The point here is it's only a structure. So now you really get to see the value of negative shapes and how they can fix everything. All right, but now comes the magic. So we rub this out. We have the foundations for our robin. And now we can look at the actual negative spaces and fix things. So what we do is come over to the beak and we look at this negative space in here to where it touches the body. So this in between empty space, no man's land. We get our pencil and we put that shape in. It doesn't really look like that, does it? Because there's no spike in there, but it goes straight down and a little bit like this, and maybe not as far out. So let's put that shape in. Just so that we start to see the bird sooner, we can rub out those lines that were just there for the sake of it. Now let's go above the beak. A bit like that. And remember again, you can modify these shapes however you want to make them as simple as possible. So I can see now that the beak goes a bit like that, and it's a bit like a bird, a seagull flying on its side, and we can colour this in. But then the head flattens on top, and on this side we have this dip. And we know from before that it lines up with this, but goes up a little bit. So if I take my pencil and go out and then go up around about there, I can see I need to flatten the head. And then I need to flatten the seagull shape on the back of the bird. So again, there's the negative space. Going back to the tummy, well, mine sticks out too much. Look at that. It doesn't go beyond this negative shape. So I need to trim that off. And now we're approaching this little negative shape in here. So, all right, that's actually looking okay. Then we have the leg. But if we have a look at what's going on here, it's like that and like that. I would go for this shape. So see how mine there is a bit different? Let's rub it out and put in this shape. So it's a bit like a squashed roof of a house. So a bit like this, a trapeze, and colouring that in. And then the tail extends from that point, and there's the back of the bird. And again, we were able to refine everything just with the negative shapes. If we added some colour to this bird, watch what would happen. So there's the beak, like this, and his eye is a bit more over here. He's got his throat, the grey part, the yellow part, and then the bulk of his wing, which comes down here. We look at the space that the yellow is creating on the side of the wing. That's where his rump is. So there's the yellow, but it goes in a bit and then it's rounded, a bit like that. So now we've already automatically drawn our wing, which is there, and it's got those lines in there from the feathers, like that. So all this is yellow, and then the head part, all this is grey. And it's a little bit lighter under the chin and darker around the eyes. So there's our little robin. The negative shapes really help a lot. Now let's give this one a bit of a party splash. I do hope you've gotten some value out of this video and that your confidence has increased. If you haven't seen part 1 of Hidden Shapes, you might like to see that. And next time we'll be looking at one more aspect of this bird drawing puzzle, and with it you'll have everything you ever wanted to have to be able to depict your beautiful feathered friends. Thanks for watching. See you next time.